Straight ahead on WBKB News at 11, a rollover accident today due to icy road conditions. Luckily, no one was seriously injured. Plus, the record has been broken for the biggest catfish caught in the state. Find out just how big it was. And Councilman Mike Nowak was available yesterday to answer questions or speak about city issues. Find out citizens' main concerns. We'll have those stories plus your local weather and sports. WBKB News at 11 starts now.
From Rogers City to Tawas City and all points in between, this is Northeast Michigan's award-winning news team. Your source for news, weather, and sports. We are WBKB News at 11.
There are no serious injuries after a single vehicle rollover earlier today in Alpena. Good evening, I'm Ashley Reed. A little before 2 p.m., police were called to the accident that occurred on M32 West at King Settlement Road. The driver of the truck was traveling too fast for the icy road conditions and lost control. She went into a ditch on the north side of the highway and hit a telephone pole, causing her truck to roll.
With the roads being wet and it being cold out, they may not appear slippery, but they are super icy. People just need to allow more time to get where they need to be, and they need to drive a little slower, take a little more caution, allow a little more room for stopping, turning, anything you plan on doing.
There were 2 people in the truck when the rollover occurred. The woman driver and her daughter both got out of the truck with minor injuries, just a few cuts and scrapes. The record has been broken for the biggest flathead catfish caught in the state of Michigan. The catfish was caught last Sunday, January 12th, by Dale Blakely of Niles, Michigan. He caught the 52-pound, 46-inch catfish on Barron Lake in Cass County around 3 p.m. The record was verified by DNR fisheries biologist Brian Gunderman. Blakely was ice fishing for crappies when he caught the record catfish. One of his family members posted this video of the catch on YouTube. It already has nearly 12,500 views. He said catching the fish was the most exhilarating experience. It was only the second time I've ever gone ice fishing, and it was the only bite we had on the lake the whole day. The previous state record flathead catfish was caught on May 22nd of 2012. Before that, the record hadn't been broken since 1943. State records are recognized by weight only. To qualify for a record, the fish must exceed the current listed state record weight, and identification must be verified by a DNR fisheries biologist. And speaking of big fish, bass anglers continue their quest for the biggest catch in the 2014 Major League Fishing Series filmed in Alpena. Yesterday was Elimination Day 3 as anglers compete to win the General Tire Summit Cup. The series was filmed here in Northeast Michigan on Hubbard Lake, Grand Lake, and Long Lake. Fletcher Street Brewing Company and Latitudes Tavern are serving as official viewing party locations every Saturday as each new episode airs.
Not all of us have cable or the outdoor channel. We don't have cable, so kind of thinking about what we could do for people that don't have that channel. We thought, well, how about including some of our local business? We opened it up to the whole community, and 2 businesses stepped forward and said, yes, we'll open our doors. We've got the outdoor channel. Come on in and watch.
Back-to-back episodes air every Saturday, starting with the previous week's episode at 2 and then an all-new episode at 3. Yesterday, Kevin Van Dam earned the spot of top qualifier. He caught 26 bass, hauling in a total of 66 pounds, 15 ounces. Councilman Mike Nowak hosted a Councilman at Your Call event yesterday at Cabin Creek Coffee. Nowak was available yesterday morning from 10 to noon if anyone wanted to ask questions, speak about city issues, or just stop in and say hello. Nowak feels it's important to make himself available in a casual setting since it's sometimes difficult for people to stand up in front of everyone at council meetings.
Everyone was positive on that. They loved the event. They like to be able to sit down and express their concerns. I'm looking forward to doing the next ones. I am also planning on walking some neighborhoods this summer just to kind of meet people, go to their homes, and see what concerns they have for me there as well.
Yesterday, people voiced their concerns and opinions about the water department issues, Plaza Pool, and improving the waterfront. This is Nowak's 3rd time hosting a Councilman at Your Call event. He plans to continue it at least 3 times a year. And a local Alpena man began making kaleidoscopes in 1957 and continues to do so. Yesterday, those who weren't enjoying their coffee with the councilman could enjoy coffee with Jim Hallauer while listening to a little history. Hallauer began making kaleidoscopes over 50 years ago when he didn't get to Christmas shopping in time and needed a gift for his son. A coworker taught him the craft. He uses wood and fur surface mirror to create beautiful sights to see. Hallauer says making the kaleidoscopes is very time consuming, but he tries to make at least one a week.
The name kaleidoscope means a beautiful thing to see, and I do like the image you get, and I do enjoy working with my hands, and I find it just thrilling to put things together that people can enjoy.
Yesterday, Hal Auer hosted a talk about kaleidoscopes as part of the Coffee Talk series at Thunder Bay Arts Gallery. He taught about a dozen people the history of kaleidoscopes, which dates back to 1816. Those in attendance passed around his kaleidoscopes, everyone impressed with the different images. Hal Auer's kaleidoscopes are available for purchase at Thunder Bay Arts Gallery. A winner was named last night as a 48-hour extreme predator hunt came to an end. Teams gathered at Green Township Hall for their final check-in, followed by a banquet. 30 people, 15 teams took part in this statewide predator hunt. Foxes, coyotes, and bobcats were the targeted animals. Bobcats earn a team the most points because they're such a rarity, followed by coyotes and then foxes.
The state of Michigan's been known and real avid for hunting. This is a different hunting aspect. It's actually the fastest growing, predator hunting is the fastest growing industry in the hunting world.
Teams could be made up of 1 to 3 people. Keith Kowalski of Bay City was a team of his own in this year's 48-hour extreme predator hunt winner. He came out on top with 2 coyotes and 1 fox. He's been predator hunting for 13 years and said this was his best year yet, although the hunting conditions were not ideal.
Cold, a lot of snow. You really have to work for them. I got 4.5 hours of sleep in the last 3 days. The 2 coyotes I actually had seen a week prior, so I knew they were in the area. The fox was a total surprise, but nice bonus.
This year there will be a second event beginning February 14th. Teams will have 24 hours to hunt the same animals. There will be an overall points champion between the 2 events. Coming up next on WBKB News at 11, what better way to celebrate the auto industry's rebound in the Motor City than with the 25th anniversary of the city's world-acclaimed auto show? Plus, the growing gap between the rich and the poor is a big threat to the global economy in the coming years. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us. In state news, the Cobo Center in Detroit opened its doors to the North American International Auto Show yesterday. It's the 25th anniversary of the world-acclaimed auto show, showcasing America's best-built automotives and some of the imports Americans strive to drive. The auto industry in Motor City is celebrating the rebound after a downturn in the economy fueled by an embarrassing round of bankruptcy. Just like the engines under many of the cars and trucks on display, the American auto industry is stronger than ever, and the attendees at the show are proud of Detroit's recovery. In your Money Watch, it's a light week on the economic calendar. We'll get the latest on unemployment claims and home prices. On Wall Street, stocks were mixed Friday. The Dow rose 41, but the Nasdaq fell 21 points. Business and political leaders gather in the Swiss ski resort of Davos this week. Ahead of the gathering, the World Economic Forum released a report that suggests the growing gap between the rich and the poor is most likely the biggest threat to the global economy in the coming years. And venture capitalists poured more money into more deals late last year. Funding for U.S. startups increased 20% in the fourth quarter to top $8.3 billion. Software companies received the most money, with biotech a distant second. GasBuddy.com and AAA of Michigan put together state and local gas prices. The highest price for gas in Alpena is coming in at $3.24 at Sunoco. The lowest is at $3.17 at Murphy, USA. Highest gas price across the state is $3.79 in Romulus, and the lowest price is coming in at $2.91 in Lambertville. Nice to see those numbers below $3. There's still much more to come on WBKB News at 11. Jeff Kolb will be in with a look at sports, and temperatures are dropping. Just how cold is it going to get? Stay tuned for your weather forecast. Welcome back. It's time now for a look at the weather. Today the high was 29 degrees, the low was 19 degrees, normal high 26 degrees, normal low 11 degrees. We were actually a little bit warmer than the average this time of year. However, those temperatures are not going to stay throughout the week. Record high 51 degrees, that was back in 1947. Record low 20 below back in 1962. Sunrise this morning at 8:07, sunset this evening, getting a little later every day, 5:24. And taking a look at the current conditions here in Alpena, currently 19 degrees, north-northwest winds around 8 miles per hour, making it really feel like 8 degrees outside. And taking a look at our satellite and radar, you can see that cloud coverage over Alpena and snow beginning to come our way from the west. So it looks like going into tonight, we'll see about a 40% chance of snow showers, 3 degrees for our low. North winds around 10 miles per hour, however, wind chill temperatures could get as low as 8 below. And then going into tomorrow, a chance of snow, 7 degrees for our high. So temperatures dropping quite a bit. Northwest winds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then into tomorrow night, even colder. Chance of snow throughout the night, 6 below for our low. Wind chill values could get as low as 22 below. So try to stay in tomorrow night. If you are going outside, make sure you're covering all exposed skin because it's going to be a cold one. North winds around 10 miles per hour. And then going into our extended forecast, taking a look at our week ahead, we can see Tuesday, scattered snow showers throughout the day, 5 degrees for our high, 8 below for our low. Very cold temperatures throughout most of the week. Friday we'll get back up to 15 degrees, a low of 2 degrees though, and then scattered snow showers continue into Saturday, 16 degrees for our high Saturday and 12 degrees for our low. And now it's time for today's photo of the day. Today's photo was sent in by Karen Swafford of Hubbard Lake. She says it's been a rarity to see the sun shining, and she is right about that, so she had to snap this photo. Although the sun was shining, the wind was still blowing. You can see that flag there ripped to shreds. Karen says it was too cold to go out and change the flag, but not cold enough to stop her hardy wooden tulips from blooming. Thank you, Karen, for sending us this photo. If you have a photo you would like to send us, just email a photo along with a short description to news@wbkb11.com. In your Health Watch, new numbers from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say at least 40 states are reporting widespread cases of the flu. The CDC says at least 10 children died because of the flu this past week, making a total of 20 pediatric deaths so far this season. British researchers are testing a new gene therapy that has helped some blind people see. An Oxford University study injected a harmless virus into the eyes of 6 blind men. The virus carried a missing protein that helps eye cells detect light. The patients all reported improved vision. And the FDA is urging doctors to stop prescribing combination medications that contain high levels of acetaminophen. Elevated amounts of the popular painkiller are linked to liver damage, liver failure, and even death. The new guideline asks doctors to limit the amount of acetaminophen to 325 milligrams per medication. Acetaminophen is the most common drug ingredient used in the United States. In national news, overseas, protesters in Ukraine clashed with police today. Riots rocked the capital in response to harsh new legislation banning rallies. CBS's Cohen reports on the escalating violence.
Fire engulfed riot police as they shielded themselves from flares, sticks and stones. Tension sparked in the Ukraine after the president approved legislation limiting Ukrainians' rights to protest and free speech. Tens of thousands gathered in uproar. The U.S. has called the legislation undemocratic. The opposition leader called it unconstitutional.
120 регіоналів у парламенті підняли руки.
This will not succeed, he said. I appeal to law enforcement bodies, to servicemen, join the people, protect the people, because you gave an oath to the Ukrainian people first of all, and you have to protect them. Demonstrators marched toward Parliament, barricading themselves against blasts of stun guns and tear gas. Unrest has been brewing in the Ukraine for months. Leaders of the activists called this mass rally a peaceful one and asked for calm as night fell and plumes of smoke rose above the main square. Ko-Im for CBS News.
Dozens of people were hurt. Opposition leaders are announcing a plan to gather signatures to express no confidence in the country's leadership. Sports is coming up next, but first, Jeff Kolb is here with a preview of what's ahead. Street Cats scaring their opponents away, huh, Jeff?
That's right. The Street Cats gave the Bruins such a beating this weekend that Berkeley just threw in the towel on today's game. We'll take a look at where Alpena stands after the sweep. Plus, a tragedy in Mayo has given birth to a Thunderbolt wrestling tradition. That story and more straight ahead here on WBKB. Coming into the weekend, the Street Cats' goal was to sweep the Bruins in 3 games. But in the end, Alpena only needed to hit the ice twice to get it done, because after scoring 25 goals, Berkeley said enough is enough, forfeiting today's finale. 4 different Street Cats recorded 6 or more points on the weekend. Andrei Yanovich leading the charge with 14 and Pavel Bakarov notching 10. With the sweep, the Cats now have 32 points, and which you can see right here, the standings. Street Cats in 3rd place right now in the Midwest Junior Hockey League, and of Alpena's 13 remaining games, 7 will come against either 2nd place Firehawks or the 4th place Fighting Irish. 4 teams will make the playoffs to compete for the Veterans Memorial Cup. The winner of the Cup and the regular season champion both qualifying for the Junior Hockey Nationals in Las Vegas. And although the Bruins skipped out of town early this weekend, there's bad news for them, because in just a couple of weeks, they'll have 3 more games coming up with Alpena. Now, there was some hockey at Northern Lights Arena today. The Alpena Bantams taking on the St. Ignace Saints. 19th hole having trouble putting the puck in the hole early. Different story, though, for the Saints, getting the friendly hop, making it 2-zip in the second. Later in the period, Cody Rickley firing a beam to make it 4-0. And eventually, Lars MacArthur will get Alpena on the board in the third, but it's not enough as the Saints march off with a 7-1 victory. Switching to the gridiron, today's AFC and NFC championship games were guaranteed to add new chapters to an old quarterback rivalry and a young one. For the young one, we head to Seattle, where San Francisco and Colin Kaepernick were looking to get back to the Super Bowl by beating Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. But Marshawn Lynch is like, forget QBs, give me the rock. Seattle down 10-3 in the third. He goes all the way to the end zone, and we're tied up at 10. But you knew Kaepernick, he'd come back. Only playoff loss, of course, last year, Super Bowl. He hits Anquan Bolden. San Fran up 7, 4th quarter, and it's time for me to do my castaway call. Wilson! Where's Wilson? There he is, hitting Jermaine Kearse. Hawks up 20-17. Last chance for the Niners. Kaepernick to the end zone, but it's intercepted by Malcolm Smith, and it's Seattle heading to the Super Bowl, 23-17. The old rivalry, of course, Tom Brady and the Pats visiting Peyton Manning and the Broncos, and Denver had 3rd down mojo early. No Sean Moreno galloping ahead for the first down. That leading to this TD connection between Manning and Jacob Tamme. Broncos going to the half up 13-3. So could the Brady Bunch rally? 4th quarter, Tom running for a touchdown? Yes, he is. Pats need to get 2, though, but Shane Vereen is stopped cold as the Broncos secure their meeting with the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, 26-16. Meanwhile, down under, top-seeded Serena Williams with a tough 4th-round test at the Aussie Open against Ana Ivanovic. First set, Williams with the ace. She'd take the set, and coming in, she'd been 51-1 when taking the first set, but back issues would hurt her serve, and Ivanovic taking advantage, rocketing the winner, and taking set 2, 6-3. Then, facing match point, Williams is going to put the forehand long as Ivanovic ousts the 5-time Aussie champ 4-6, 6-3, 6-3. Last night, we brought you some exciting wrestling highlights from Mayo, but beyond the pins and first-place finishes is a story about how the Thunderbolts took another step in building a meaningful tradition for one of its wrestling families.
I just missed them so much. I was just happy that they were able to hold the meet and have everyone wrestle in his honor.
Sometimes tragedy opens the door for a great opportunity. The Mayo wrestling program is proof of that. On Saturday, the Bolts hosted their 4th annual home tournament, the Josh Chartier Invitational.
It was always an exciting match with him.
Loved wrestling for Mayo.
In 2009, as a sophomore, Josh Chartier placed 8th at States, gaining interest from Division I programs including Duke University. But following that school year, tragedy struck the Chartier family. While visiting his cousin, Josh was killed in a gun accident. 6 months later, his sister, Jennifer, lost her battle with cystic fibrosis.
It was bad. Very depressed, just everything just seemed like it was going wrong.
It was then that the Bolts helped Josh's family get back on its feet. The wrestling team had never put on a home tournament, and Coach Tim Jensen had an idea.
He asked us if we'd be interested in starting a tournament in Josh's memory and stuff, and we were like, heck yeah.
Although there will never be a complete remedy for Josh's loss, the Chartiers now have a new tradition to keep his love of wrestling alive.
It's always very bittersweet. You know, it's sad that we're here for this reason, but it's a great way to remember him and his legacy in Mayo wrestling.
Well, it's just a really nice tournament. It's nice that they do it in his honor. They have a spotlight finals. They bring out a spotlight, dim the lights, and it's a really cool experience for everyone, including the kids. So.
Very sad story, but it's good to see that something good can come out of it.
It is. You know, people get knocked down, but the whole community, Mayo and the Chartier family, they've bounced right back up. So good for them.
Great to hear. Well, coming up next on WBKB News at 11, not your typical treehouse. This one's built for adults, and it has lots to offer. That story after the break. Welcome back. Well, who as a kid hasn't dreamed of having a treehouse? Well, this is an adult treehouse, and it's very impressive. It's built on the grounds of the Summit Inn Golf Course in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. David Highfield has the story.
You have to watch because this is a bouncy bridge.
The bouncy bridge leads to Amanda Voigthofer's family's treehouse. They own the Summit Inn outside Uniontown, and now they own a treehouse that puts most treehouses to shame.
This is our buffet and bar area.
Inside is more like a cozy cabin with mission-style furniture, room for a candlelight dinner, even canine friends have been thought of, and there are surprises. Her husband Jeremiah showed us the outside.
All right, Dave, so out here we have the porch.
A wraparound porch with furniture so you can relax and take in the view. This may be the star of the whole thing.
This is the star of the treehouse right here, my friend. Yeah. So on a clear day,
they say you can see the Steel Building in downtown Pittsburgh. But on this day, we saw Uniontown and the surrounding communities. There are also a couple of swings. You don't want to do this? It does it on the show.
When you finally get up there and it's finished and you're 18 feet off the ground, it's amazing.
Now they're exploring the possibility of renting this place out for private parties so you can experience this view firsthand.
What an awesome treehouse. I love the wraparound porch, and the view was absolutely amazing.
The aesthetics are good, and I never had a treehouse as a kid. I know you said you didn't have one, so this is great because it says, you know, you can still have one.
A treehouse for adults.
There's still time for us, right?
Yeah, and that was a big treehouse. That's very impressive.
I don't know if mine will be that fancy, but we'll see. And remember, you can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on more news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
Or add us on Facebook at facebook.com/WBKBTV.
That will do it for tonight's show, but be sure to catch Kelsey Fabian here tomorrow morning on 11.3. Have a great night.